All right, this stream is a little bit later than usual. I typically try to do it, 1, 2 o'clock, but I had somebody call me and conversation was just too good to pass up. But I actually was, while talking to this person, reflecting on some of the past events of the last couple of years. Um, and I was thinking about how someone a while back had asked me about doing a video on what if I was the parent because I critique the dingbat with the baby repeatedly and how dumb she was for doing what she did. But I guess what my thing is, just as a brief overview for that video possibly being made, because I don't know if I'm going to do it yet, is that I think the role of a parent should be to assist the child and make sure that it meets its developmental necessities. So a lot of parents who tell you that their child should go to college, but then they don't save up for the kid to go to school, I think are hypocrites and have effectively ruined the kid's life. And it's not to say that I believe you must have a degree to be successful, but it goes with their philosophy where they say you need to go to school to be successful, but then they don't give you the tools to be able to go to school. Thus, they have assisted indirectly in you not being successful. I've told this story before about my experiences with school where I was a student who in college did all of their work. And then when I tried to transfer to a university, I couldn't afford it. And I couldn't get backing from older relatives. And I had a person who was trying to like make the case for why they didn't need to be blamed. And I thought to myself, it is not unreasonable to surmise or assume that someone who is 18 or 19 or 20 does not have thousands of dollars waiting around to be used for some school. And if they can't get assistance from their parents who are supposed to have the mental fortitude to know what their kid needs, who else can they depend on or get assistance from? And we know these people aren't above using the system to get assistance because a lot of them will tell you to apply for FISA or some other program. Oh, Euro dollar trader. Oh, thanks, Ruben. Wow. I haven't seen a donation that large in a long time. But I was really thinking about it. I said, if you can't get assistance from your parents for things that they tell you that you need, are they not hypocrites? And who can you depend on? People aren't even saying anything, they're just donating. I mean, I'm fine with that, but I'd like some words too. How you doing, King? I haven't seen you in a while. Euro Dollar came in here to talk about my attire and then walk away. Like, I just felt like commenting on that. I'll be taking my leave now. Sorry I haven't been tuning into the streams. I've been so busy. King says it has been a while, been busy. Everybody's been busy. But no, the school thing really bothered me because, and I've made this point before, let's have a hypothetical scenario where, again, hypothetical means this didn't actually happen. Let's say I dropped out of middle school or high school. People would say I dropped out because I didn't take going to school seriously. I didn't do my grades. I didn't take care of my responsibility. And remember, the goal, the responsibility of a student is to pass the various classes that are needed to acquire the credits for them to get either a diploma or a degree of some kind. So in college, it goes from you not doing your responsibilities, being the reason for you not finishing, to instead being, oh, you did your responsibilities, but because you didn't have the mental fortitude to, I don't know, start having thousands of dollars from some early age, you get screwed. General ed in college was when it all went to crap. Yeah, it definitely has gone downhill. The SJW infestation does not help. Oh, Ruben, I've said before that it's a scam. But really think of how messed up that is. You do all of the work that is told by you to do, just like you did when you were in middle school and high school, but now you're expected to feel bad for not having thousands of dollars for acquiring a piece of paper that is not guaranteed to get you a job. So they want you to spend thousands of dollars that you don't own on a piece of paper that still doesn't guarantee you a damn thing. And then they get surprised when people don't believe that in this pyramid scheme. That's why I said that a lot of people with college, they turned it into the Red Scare. Remember the communism thing where I'm going to smear all my opponents as communists. It's like, oh, if you don't get a degree, your life is over. It's going to be ruined. You're going to be sweeping things up. They act like people who have degrees don't work at McDonald's or any other restaurants or food place. And again, I've never seen, prior to people like really talking about college or trying to like scare you into going, I never saw people who actually tried to make just having a job seem like it was a bad thing. Like how screwed up is it that you'll have more people shaming you for working at McDonald's than having kids you can't afford? That person that makes that honest living is so much beneath people who have kids they can't afford and that they ultimately screw over by not being able to take care of them. How nuts is that? The person who gets up and does their responsibility as an employee of this company should be ashamed of themselves for doing what they got hired to do. But the person who has a kid that they leave out to get screwed by not having the funds to take care of it, oh, they're just a poor, lonely soul. Euro says, when you realize most everyone is a hypocrite, shaking my head. But really think about it. What should the goal of a parent be when it comes to your education? Because, when I was in preschool and middle school and high school, it was paid for by my parents. Nobody told me when I was 14 that I needed to, what's a good way of saying it, man up or whatever the hell. And only when you go to college is it now expected of you to just magically start having thousands of dollars that at no point before you expected to own as per the requirements for you to get a degree. And if your parents aren't there to help you with affording going to school, who else is supposed to help you? But again, it all just comes down to different ideals where you have these people who say you need to do this. Because I guarantee you, a lot of people have heard their parents say, oh my God, you need to go to school. If you don't go to school, you'll be screwed. They don't offer any aid. And then you're supposed to just say whatever. You're supposed to get screwed with the smile. That's crazy though. Is this donation day? Like what happened? I didn't even look at You Love's donation. Thanks. I guess people are feeling generous today. I mean, it is appreciated. I was just kind of surprised by it. Because I had a person a couple of months back who accused me of using my seat to get money or something, even though I don't beg for donations ever because I'm not in this for cash. That's why when I was demonetized for 2 months, I was still as active as I was before. They make it seem it's common for a high school student to work a 9 to 5 and attend high school. Yeah, well, that's my point, that no one would tell a student, like a serious student, because remember, you've probably heard this before, that for every hour of a class, you need to study 3 hours of the material. No one would say to a serious student who wants to focus on their grades in order to have the best chance of completing their classes, hey, why don't you also do a 9 to 5 so you can pay for this crap as well? I'm just so tired of the like rugged individualism with school. Like only with college did that start happening. You go to kindergarten. Oh, don't worry, son. I'll pay for your, your pencils and notepads and paper. You go to eighth grade. Oh, don't worry. I'll pay for your cap and gown and your little suit that you're gonna wear. You go for ninth grade. Oh, don't worry. I'll get your new freshman uniform and whatever. Like only when you get to college are you now like given this middle finger and told that you need to start being this individual who's able to magically solve every damn problem. Yeah. Well, Ruben, you know what they do, right? Oh, well, if you had a degree, you would find a position, you would find a job much easier. But I think how screwed up this is. You're going to tell the person who's unemployed at a time when all these schools cost, I guess, some loans while attending this school while they're unemployed, and then like hope and pray that this degree will make back what it cost. So I said a lot of Americans are really evil. Like when they don't support free college, I get really irritated because it's like you gotta understand if you look at a lot of American politicians, when they take positions that are anti a certain group of people, it's usually done with this veneer of I want to help out this other person. So, for example, I don't want illegal immigrants taking the jobs because I want Americans who are born here to have those jobs. Oh, what's that? Americans that are born here want to get paid $2 more an hour. Oh no, that's going to destroy the economy. So you want to be on their side when they want to get hired, but not when they want 120 cents more an hour, or when they want to go to college and not end up losing all of what they own, all of their savings, or spending more than what they own by taking out all these loans. Let's be honest, this only increases the oversaturation of careers requiring these degrees. Yeah, so it's like you either spend thousands of dollars that you don't own on some piece of paper, and then have to spend 20 or 30 years making back what it cost, or you don't bother with it altogether and get told about how you're lazy and you will never get anywhere because you don't have the magic piece of paper that saves the day for every damn body, even though it doesn't. I have a bachelor's degree in ethnology. Where's my ethnology job? Well, that's why I said that a lot of what they do is on these this fairy tale stuff about these positions that are just waiting for you. So they have no proof that you'll actually get the position with the degree. They use that as a dollars on this piece of paper, but don't worry, it's going to be so good. It'll be okay. I know Ruben. I know why I didn't see him for a while. He was over there celebrating Biden's victory. He was dancing in Times Square. It's like, yes, we did it. People still won't be able to afford going to school, but it's good. But yeah, as someone who told the story of why I didn't end up finishing college, it's really sad to know that no matter what hardship you face, you will always have some group of people who they find a way to flip it and make it seem like it's your fault. Oh, you did all the grades that you were able to pass all your classes, which we would expect of a student. Oh, well, you didn't have thousands of dollars lying around for this school, so you got what you deserved. And then these are the same pricks who, in a hypothetical, let's say I took out a bunch of loans, they would be crapping on me for being in debt. So you either get blamed for not having a degree, or you get blamed for being in debt. For the piece of paper that people red scared you into doing everything possible to get so that you could have a shot at getting what they consider to be a decent job. I was wondering where James was. Yeah, I saw that new song you put out and I was getting a little terrified. Elliot says start robbing people. I mean, hell, that's why I said when you follow the laws and do what's required of you, all you do is get treated like trash if you're a man. And again, they do the school thing to women too, but it's just like we could talk about all kind of other stuff where if you do what people say you should do, they still find a way to like vilify you. Like when I was talking about the job thing, I had people who didn't even know what positions I was applying for. So you're probably underqualified, even though the damn website of the place that you're applying to says you aren't. But I'm gonna headcanon that because it makes me feel better. Yeah, you'll be surprised how many adults I've had try to, what's a good way of saying it, justify the position of those that did not assist me with the school thing. And I just say to them, listen, I asked three people who, if you count all of the years these three people have individually worked, it totals to 90 years. You had one person work for 50 years, two work for 20. I'm supposed to believe that a group of three adults that all together have worked for 90 years don't have $12,000 between them. Like, who's stupid enough to think that? I would think maybe one of them doesn't have it by themselves, but the three of them together, no. And I know they had it because here goes people being stupid again. 3,000 on the floor. I was made privy to how much certain things they bought cost, and it's really sad too because I am to an extent a forgiving person. So one of them I actually did forgive to where I would still speak to them because I genuinely believe they didn't have the money for it. But when I see people who tell me that they can't afford this thing, but then you see them spend more that altogether added up would add to more than what you needed on BS. I'm just not really convinced. Like you didn't spend 3,000 on getting a new kidney or I don't know, some unlimited supply of food, something that you need to survive. You spend it on frivolous crap, painting walls, changing the floor, stuff that, you by your own logic is much less consequential than someone having a degree. I don't believe college is a scam, but it does matter in what you major in. Well, James, the reason he said that is because your arm appeared in frame. You're told to go to these schools to have a shot at life or a chance at having some good career. And then what ends up happening a lot of times is that people take out loans and grants for money that they don't have presently with the hope that once they get this degree, they'll be able to make back what it cost, only to have an anchor on their leg that they end up having to pay off for the next half of their life. How screwed up is that? You just became an adult and now you've entered the workforce and you've already got this giant anchor by your leg and you have to hope and pray that you'll, I guess, see the day to where you can afford to pay it back. So that's why he said that, James. Got this lamp right here. I was trying to get some good lighting because the outside has this sun just reflecting over and over again. Let's see. Maybe. Oh, that's Ruben conceding that yeah, it's possible. Yeah, I can't get rid of that little glare right there. There we go. Damn. Yeah, I'm at people leave. They're like, I don't want to sit here and watch him adjust his camera. Because I actually did have somebody comment. They're like, why can I see the glare? Like, well, I tried. So I said, this website, there's no winning. You will always have somebody whining about something. How much damage is Governor Newsom contributing to California? Well, I haven't really heard that much about him recently. Like after the virus stuff, he just kind of, evaporated. Yeah, a lot of people have been like sucking him off ever since we had the virus stuff happen. Oh my God, what an outstanding leader. He helped the US, not US, he helped California so much. What an amazing man. Give him a Nobel Peace Prize right away. I'm just imagining Ruben every time that he sees like a picture of Newsom, just like, I hate him so much. I haven't even seen Ruben say that about Trump or Obama. That's how you know Newsom must have done something really evil. Jesus. Yeah, that is true. I'd like to get a master's degree in mathematics, but I might not cause I might not because my bills are piling up. Yeah, and then the screwed up part is you won't have people say, "Oh my God, look at how dedicated of a student James was." That's so screwed up that he had to spend thousands of dollars to get this degree, even though he has the intelligence to where he can get the degree via, what he knows. No, he's irresponsible for taking out loans to get that degree. Gotta love how Americans think ignoring the virus will exempt them from infection. Yeah, I mean, people, the ignorance over here it has reached new heights, and this year has proven that to be the case. If I just don't acknowledge the virus, it won't reach me. But I really want to know if you can't get assistance from the people who brought you into the world, the people who are supposed to be your guardians, who are you supposed to depend on for help with school, for with college? Like who is supposed to come swoop in and save the day? Lockdowns are picking back up as we speak, no surprise. Yeah, the virus didn't go anywhere. It just people weren't talking about it as much because they were all focused on the election. And then it just decided to be like, hey, remember me, and just increase even more. But I want to know who's supposed to come to the rescue when you need assistance with going to school. If it's not your parents, because that's what I think the role of a parent should be. It should be to prepare you for the vigors of life. And if they're the kind who keep red scaring you about not going to school, but then they don't want to actually offer anything up for you to pay for it. As dumb as skydiving from a plane and thinking ignoring the ground will. Ruben says resistance liberals went out to party the day that Trump lost. Over there celebrating. Yeah, I saw it last Saturday. People were cheering. Lockdowns are about to be enforced as soon as Biden takes office. I mean, well, according to some of Trump's cabinet, that's not going to happen. They're in some paradox where they actually got 270 on the electoral map. Yeah, things are really backwards. I'm just trying to figure out who's supposed to assist you if it's not your parents. And it is really funny to watch certain conservatives, just more political stuff, like get upset when someone wants free school, uh, or like basically try to do this thing of what's it called, like rugged individualism, like man up or whatever, like figure things out for yourself. When the last person they had, the president, was someone who inherited his wealth from his father. Like he had the ultimate assistance from his parent as far as getting money from him, like having his initial success be from his dad. And then, they're like telling us about how we all need to be individuals. Remember, if you don't do it, you're lazy, but you don't have the means to do it because you just graduate high school. It's still your fault. It's why I don't feel any obligation to stress myself out. Yeah, I don't either. I just think it's really ironic that, you know, people actually want, because I've said before, the majority of Americans can't afford $1,000 emergency. So to like have these students graduate from high school and then expect them to be able to spend thousands of dollars for these different schools is just like it's statistically set up to fail, because a lot of young people don't start saving thousands, like even if they did, don't start saving thousands of dollars years before getting out of high school. So they're like, you're literally asking them to go from point A to point Z. If there was a real deadly virus, you would see people dropping dead in the streets by now. I've never seen Chuck before. They're not trying to have free schooling because those degrees are going to lose value. Well, that's why Ruben said it was a scam, because you're spending you are spending thousands of dollars to get a piece of paper that, for all you know, could not make back what it costs, and thus results in you having to spend the next 20 or 30 years paying it back. That's why he said that. Damn light. That would make me have a big dislike towards my parents. If they're not going to pay their part, I would say that's the point of having a child. Yeah. Again, I don't, and this is what gets me, right? Because I mentioned my best friend goes to school in another. We met when we went to school together in preschool, but he goes to school currently in another state. His parents helped him. He actively talks about how ridiculous and insane it was that these grown people expected. I was at the time 20, someone of that age to, I guess, either have some never-ending oasis of student loans and grants, while they just sat around and didn't have to pay for anything, or paid for very little. Because you gotta understand something else. I went to community college before attempting to attend the university. So these were people who at no point ever actually had to pay for any of my schooling besides a couple of hundreds of dollars, which again is still, it's something, but it's nowhere near as much as the thousands that these universities have. So these weren't people that was thousands for years and were at the end of their rope. These were people who got away with doing as little as they could, and then, oh, I can't afford it. I'm so destitute. This is unaffordable. It's too much. If y'all can't see the obvious agendas, all right, more virus talk. A bunch of normies I know have Trump and hate Trump and push all of the orange man bad talking points, but at the same time hate COVID restrictions and ignore the outbreak altogether. Well, James, if you really believe that, you can do with him whatever you want. I won't get mad at you. You have my permission. Hey, James, every stream, it's like that. It's like that one person, like every Saturday. They go out and party like there was no COVID outbreak. Yeah, I really felt embarrassed as a millennial to see all the people that were out celebrating and all together. Like, they just look so stupid. Like, yeah, this disease, let's get around each other. So if I hold the light, it looks good, but then if I don't hold it, so I'm just gonna break my arm for the stream. James, you act like the Joker showed up. I mean, technically showed up last year when that movie came out, but still. Okay, jump out of a plane. The ground doesn't exist. Gravity has an agenda against you. Quick, stockpile guns. Trump was the anti-lockdown candidate, and yet they dismissed him. Well, that's why it's ironic. I mean, isn't it the same thing with Collins, where like people, like she votes a certain way that people if she was a Democrat would like, but because she's not, they ignore those votes on purpose. Man, I was so happy on election night because the whole night she was leading from when they counted 1% to the end of it. That's probably my favorite unexpected thing that happened this year was her just like trailing in all those polls, and then just defeating Gideon. It was nice. But anyways, going back to what I was saying about the school thing, I'm not an evil person, so I forgave one of the three because I know, or I believe that they genuinely couldn't pay for it by themselves. And I would be more forgiving if I didn't know for fact that these people were buying non-essential things that cost thousands of dollars while trying to tell me that it was like outrageous to spend $12,000 to go to school. And remember, that was it was originally, I've mentioned this before, but I don't mention this often. It was originally 30,000, but with grants, it was low. It was cut by more than half. And then these three people who worked all together for 90 years wanted me to believe that the three of them couldn't come up with 12,000. People who believe in reality are delusional. Ruben says, did Collins win? I saw resistance liberals seething over something related to Collins. Yeah, she got reelected. And she beat Gideon bad. She won by like 5 or 6 points. The whole night she was just on top of her. And I was so pessimistic. I was like, all right, they counted 1%. She's going to fall. All right, 10%. Gideon's going to rise. All right, 30%. Gideon's about to take the lead. 50%. Gideon's about to increase. 70%. Oh no, Gideon's going to have some surprise votes. 80%. Susan Collins is declared the winner. I was like, yeah. To hell with those polls. And you know the one that ran against McConnell, McCrap, she got destroyed from the moment. James, I told you, if you're gonna get rid of the person's stuff, especially if they've written like multiple things you don't like, you just get rid of them altogether. Because then they come back and then they start, you will rule the day you didn't listen to me. So I would appreciate it. Yes, thank you. They start doing that anime villain stuff. What's censorship? Well, I mean, if he gets removed from here, he can always make his own video. I don't know what guy he's talking about. Again, Ruben, like a lot of these people just write stuff. Like they're not. They can always just do a video. That's like saying if I get blocked from a Discord server, I've been censored on Discord. I can't just make my own server or go join another one. That one server is the whole website. If he really believes I'm being paid to peddle, I guess, the truth of COVID being a thing that can kill people, he can go make a video about it and show some proof. I just don't really like being accused of of having some financial incentive to have an opinion. Like I don't even get paid for this, and I'm supposedly getting coins from Bezos and Soros and I don't know Tauros from Pokemon. Like it's just stupid. I can't. Yeah, you just did when you hide them. That's the you did before. What? Let me see. There. Like you can when you hit him, and then after Ruben said that it was censorship, and I really don't want to get started with that. I can't get rid of people on my own channel. because this is just tube. If you get banned on my channel, you're basically banned on the whole site. No, you hid them and then you unhid. I was like, what? I'm gonna do the Palpatine voice. Do it. Fulfill your destiny. Turn Chuck's comments into dust and cast them into the wind. He was that kid in high school who thought he was smarter than the teachers. It's like, I'm so brilliant, I should be teaching the class. I mean, I was just getting kind of annoyed because I'm not even really talking about COVID. People have been talking about that all year long. If you go on any of the different like major political channels on YouTube, TYT or any of them, it's just COVID, COVID, COVID. It's either COVID or something Trump related, which you could put COVID under basically, since he was the incumbent president when it started. So I was just trying to have a discussion about something else, and then, COVID, COVID, COVID. Censorship. So Ruben, should we not be able to block anybody ever? Because I've had plenty of people disagree with me on here that I haven't blocked. It's only when they insult me or try to accuse me of something that it starts getting kind of aggravating. I just want to know, is there some specific criteria for when a person should be allowed to be gotten rid of? Kasparian is the top manager of TYT now. The rise of Anna. Social media sites do not have an obligation to protect your freedom of speech. Yeah, but my thing is, every time somebody screams that, they're not screaming it because I banned them from using the site when I blocked them. They're screaming that because I just don't want them to be able to write something on my page. Like, YouTube doesn't allow porn, and Pornhub exists. Are they censoring porn? Even though you can see it on all these other websites, Xhamster, Playboy.com. Hell, maybe Hulu has some of that on there. No, I'm so tired of people crying about censorship. Every time somebody writes something stupid and gets punished for it, it's censorship. They need to just take that word and say it's the code word for whenever you write something crazy and don't want to get punished. Well, I mean, again, like he's saying that this disease is fake that's killed 200,000 people. He's not presenting any proof. So why should we keep him here? Hey, Ruben, let's say I had a relative, which I haven't, but just hypothetical. Let's say I had somebody close to me die from this virus. Am I supposed to tolerate that person writing that crap in my chat? Well, I just went to this funeral of this person that really mattered to me that died from this deadly disease that's killed 200,000 people, but now this person is saying it was a fake, and I want to make sure that their rights are protected, so I'm not going to ban them for saying something that's real is not. Imagine if I came on here saying AIDS was fake. Like that, no one's going to say that's ridiculous. We don't need to hear that crap. If you want to say that, go say it somewhere else, just not here. They act like when they get blocked on one channel, you might as well have just put duct tape over their mouth whenever they come on YouTube. Hell, in most of these comment sections, they get to write their stuff because the people running the chat don't even read what they're writing anyway. I mean, well, you see, Euro, that's different because that's not actually, no one's going to die because someone thought the earth was flat. Like if you're saying a deadly disease is not deadly, that's literally misinformation that can cause public health issues if believed by a wide group of people. I think misinformation about diseases is dangerous. But you know, if you want to say the Earth is flat, like you know, whatever, it's not going to. That's like me saying the sky is yellow or orange. It doesn't. No one's going to die from that or get contract something that can kill them for me spouting that. I might fall off the edge though. Well, wouldn't there be edges even if the Earth was round? And hell, that still wouldn't be the fault of the person who wrote that the Earth was flat because they're not dictating where you have to go. So if you go somewhere where there's an edge, I mean, that's not their fault. They didn't tell you to go over there. I'm just saying it. I really certain stuff. Why I don't know why they can't just write it somewhere else. Like people have written nasty stuff about me on other websites. I'm not trying to get it taken down. They're just not able to write it directly to me on here. I want the person to be corrected first and have an engagement. If the person refuses to listen, then you ban them. Otherwise, the person will be stuck in an echo chamber. I mean, again, usually I don't get rid of someone unless they insult me. You had that person that made a video on me that for months was able to talk trash about Sanders and all kind of other people I liked. And only when they tried to accuse me of stuff is when they, you know, were gotten rid of. So, and again, it's not my obligation to engage these people. That was why what's his name? I'm not going to say his name. You know, I'm talking about got in trouble. Like you comment in someone's chat, just because you do that doesn't mean they have to acknowledge you. Usually, the person comes on here aren't trying to have a conversation. Yeah, you saw what the one guy did where he said, "I believe in this fake virus." I thought, and then he disappeared after that. Like I'm just saying, it's not my job to convince these people otherwise. You have millions of people that use the internet and write nasty stuff every day, and I'm supposed to go back and forth with them. Yeah, when I had the video that got the 200,000 views, I had must have been 500 or 600 comments, and I responded to like 6 or 7 of them. The echo chamber. Yeah, it's very rare that I get rid of somebody just for having a different opinion. They usually have to insult me or, you know, something deliberate. Like I don't appreciate being accused of having like why and who the hell would do that? Why would a company pay someone who gets less than 100 views a video to peddle theories about the virus killing people? Like, wouldn't they be paying someone bigger, like Secular Talk or David Pakman or TYT or that? What's the other guy? The Humanist Report. Like, wouldn't someone that's much larger be getting these dollars funneled to peddle this position of the disease being deadly? Again, I usually don't get rid of someone for dissenting opinions. They have to, you know, insult me directly. You know, if you want to have a civilized discussion, that can occur. But this isn't a trash TV talk show. This isn't Jerry Springer. We're all just hurling insults at each other. That show's been over for 2 years. We don't need to bring it back in my chat. Yeah, the lack of civility online is really amazing. Like I wasn't even really talking about COVID either, and then he came in here with that. But yeah, I was given the hypothetical of in a situation with school, if because my brother is several years removed from having to pay for college, and if I were not able to afford to send him there or to help him, let's say I became his legal guardian, is it not incumbent upon me to be the one that assists him with paying for school? If I am acting as his parents, if he lives with me and I feed him and have paid for him to go to school before, but also to make the distinction, if I were not able to assist him like enough to where he could go, he's not going to see me spend 3,000 on the floor or on a wall or some other meaningless crap that I don't need. And that was the key point I was making, that I would be a lot more forgiving if these people did not buy things that I know cost either as much to as the what was needed for me to continue my education, or if altogether amount to what was needed. So it's not it's more an issue of them claiming something and then they say one thing and then do the opposite. Remember the phrase, believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. I tell you that I can't afford to put you through school, but then I buy things that because I'm an idiot, I let you know the price of. Did Pelosi win re-election? Of course. Ruben, like none of the major people that get like out of those congressional leaders, not a single one lost re-election. So Pelosi, McCarthy, Cheney. Consumerism messes up many things. I'm just saying that if I tell this person, hey, I couldn't afford to, uh, let's say it's his number is 10,000. I couldn't afford to give you the 10,000 for school. Oh, don't say anything as I buy $2,000, I don't know, mangas, buy a bunch of books altogether cost 2,000. Don't say anything when I get a $3,000 collection of video game consoles, stuff I don't need. It's not like I'm spending 2,000 on rent because that's something that is a utility that I have to do, or water, or food. Which hell, even then, if you actually, it's really crazy how like this same person, one of the three, was like complaining about how for to feed two people it costs $20, like how that's so much money, but then spending 3,000 on a floor that you didn't have to replace, didn't need to replace, is not a bunch of money. Like think of how backwards that is. It cost a bunch because it cost a bunch to spend $20 on feeding two people, but not 3,000 on the floor. Especially when it gets in the way of investing in something more important. Remember, these are people who set themselves up for this. As far as they you hear them for years talk about how if you don't get this piece of paper, you won't be able to afford anything. If you don't get this degree, you'll be sweeping up pee. They red scare you about the importance of this piece of paper, and then when it's your turn to try and navigate through the system of getting this paper, which includes passing the classes needed and also being able to afford the school that these classes will be conducted at, they throw a middle finger in your face. They say, hey, I know I gassed you up to believe that this was your only hope of getting into an upper economic class. We know that you've done everything you needed to do as a student, but I'm not going to assist you with paying for this because I don't feel like it. I have this one person who's not part of that group of three, so I don't like hold it against them that they don't want to pay for anything. But it's funny because like once a year they'll mention school and they'll keep asking me to give them these papers for financial aid, and it's like they're trying to, I guess what people need to understand is, imagine using all the financial aid you could get to lower some price, like to cut it by more than half, and then having people tell you that there's like even more, like there's like this, they believe, some people, that there's this never ending oasis financial aid. Like you never have to pay for any damn thing. Just keep digging in the bucket. It's really sad too because the three people together, if they had split it evenly, the 12,000 would have been 4,000, which is about the price of something out here like UCLA or UC Berkeley. So they tried to, like, what's funny is they tried to talk about how because it was out of state it costs more. But the fact that they together didn't work to lower the price, to keep chopping it amongst themselves, made it to where it couldn't be the price of something that was out here for each one of them respectively. Maybe that's a little confusing. Maybe I didn't say that correctly. I'm saying that the three of them together, cutting the 12,000 into three pieces, would have made it 4,000. And that's about the amount of something out here, which is what they claim they would assist you with paying for, even though they were given that chance had they split it up appropriately, like, equally. Let's see. James says, I don't think so. Depends on the person. I know a guy who spent $400 on shoes he didn't really need. Well, I don't think King was trying to say everybody does it. But what I'm trying to get at is, if people try to convince you, what's a good example? Let's say I have a son, and from the time he's a little kid, I tell him, you need to go to college. If you don't go to college, you won't be able to afford your education. Blah, blah, blah. And then my son hears me talk about how school costs a bunch, thousands of dollars, that it's ridiculous, right? That I'm aware of school costs thousands of dollars that a lot of times first year students don't own because they've never had a steady job. And then after my son gets out of high school, after getting out of middle school, after having done what he needs to do as a student, he tries to go to university, and I tell him, well, this costs too much. It's like, but idiot, you're the same one who was aware of how much this cost. It's really not much higher than what you've talked about in the past. And even though you've been aware that these schools have cost thousands of dollars for years, you decided to not save up at all. Oh, and on Twitter, this guy exposed himself by spending over $10,000 on a girl he never met. Yeah, a lot of people do that. I tell you, the power of the wonders of the vagina make people do some of the strangest, weirdest things ever. Like, you will see men that just, they blow through a whole bunch of money for chicks. They spend months talking to them. They'll do anything for them. Everybody spends thousands on iPhones just to fit in because Androids aren't cool. Well, again, it's still something that, if it's your only phone, you could argue as a utility. I'm talking about people who don't need certain things that cost, indiscriminate amounts of money, but then they want you to be convinced when you ask them for help with something that is important. Tough crap. Oh well, cry me a river, boohoo. With one of the three adults, I had never asked them for anything at all since being an adult. For just never asked them for money for shoes or clothes or a game or just anything. And the one time I ever came and asked for help was to help me pay for school, and they told me that I needed to give them a good reason. And this person also at the time was living with someone where they didn't have to pay any rent, and they wanted me to believe that they could not, leisurely offer something to help pay for this. And again, the point of mentioning that I had never asked them of anything in the past, like as an adult, asked for money for anything, is to illustrate that this was the issue of trying to go to school and get a degree, was something that at the time I took very seriously and really exhausted every resource I had possible to try and get. and that it should have said to this person, hey, if this uh, young adult who never asked me for anything is now coming to me about this, this must be really important. And they blew it off. Now let's flip down its head. If my brother, for example, comes to me and asks me for school, and he's never asked me for any toys or shoes or clothes, I'm gonna say, wait a second, that must be something really important. I need to give this a second look. Fog said, man, Ruben, you and your name change. Ruben says iPhones are awful. I don't like them. I mean, hey, we can agree to disagree. Yeah, I just find it really sad that people they always find a way to like make you, as the person who's trying to change something, the reason for why it stays the same. Because they do the same thing with jobs. Oh, you applied to over 100 places. You must have been unqualified for all those positions, even if the pricks that ran those companies said that you weren't. I'm glad that Kevin is inspecting my shoulders. That's really lovely. People really act like my channel is a fashion show. It's like, I've been looking at you, and I see what you got on today. It's like, please go away with that. Thank you. Talking about iPhones, using cell phones. Yeah, but, oh, it looks like the chat has died out. Hey, when you go to college in 8 years, who do you think is going to help you pay for your schooling?
Actually, I have no idea.
You don't think it would be your parents, the ones who brought you into the world?
Maybe.
Because remember, they're the same ones who go, you need to go to college. If you don't go, you'll be picking up turds.
And a whole bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm. LOL, because shoes for $400 is better than a $20 shoe, not like they're made in same factories or anything.
Wow.
No, I was reading what he wrote because he was being sarcastic. But no, I was saying that, let's say I was your guardian, right? Like you lived with me, and I fed you every day, and I paid for you to go to school.
Yeah.
So then, when you get to be college aged, right, to where you're trying to go to some university,
Mhm.
wouldn't it seem weird if I suddenly say to you, "Well, I know that you were trying to go to school, and I know that it costs thousands of dollars, but I'm so destitute and poor that I can't help you." Wouldn't that seem kind of weird? Like, weren't you're my guardian? Aren't you supposed to be the one that's trying to assist me the most of anybody?
Yeah.
And wouldn't it seem even more weird if, let's say, the school costs 10,000, right? I'm wearing $20,000 pants, and I'm changing the floor for 3,000. You're like, wait a second,
and changing the walls to the same color.
Yeah, it's like, wait a second, this doesn't exactly seem too correct. I could have sworn that you said you couldn't afford this, so why the hell, like, where the hell are you getting all this other money from?
Yeah.
But that's the point, that it would be one thing to believe that I didn't afford it, but then when you see me go and spend thousands on all this other crap that I don't need, it's not like it's food or rent, then you go, hey, that doesn't seem correct. That sounds like someone who lied to me.
Yeah.
Okay, Inspector Gadget, it's really boring too. I buy shoes that cost about 200, like Nike shoes. This person bought $400 Jordans just to flex. Well, again, the point I was making was, look, people buy things of leisure all the time. It happens. But what I'm saying is, if the things you're buying of leisure altogether add up to something that obviously is more than the school that you kept saying was so, that would give this person this education that you claim was so important to their further success in life, doesn't it seem hypocritical? Doesn't it seem like you took this thing that you tried to make out to be a major factor in this person's future and trivialized it and paid it very little attention in the process? Nobody else is writing anything. Yep.
Sorry about that.
Half the time, people aren't. I muted it.
Oh.
Half the time, people aren't as broke as they make themselves out to be, especially guardians who then do the unnecessary holiday shopping. Yeah, nobody said you have to buy everybody a gift. Uh, Kevin says, my mom pulled me out of high school to work full time. Well, I'm sorry. I know Kevin really loved high school. Kevin used to wear a red hat and a green sweater and black pants, or black shorts, rather. And yes, that was an Ed, Ed and Eddie reference. Since we're talking about cartoons, that happened to a lot of kids I went to school with. Up to anyone?
Yeah.
A good thing I'm around, huh?
Mm.
I haven't spent more than $40 on shoes and look and work just as nice. I know I'm paying what they're worth, unlike others showing off. Well, yeah, you really. I mean, with me, I get maybe 7 or 8 pairs of pants, a couple of shirts. You really don't need that much to just live comfortably. It's a lot of times it's just people trying to have a bunch of crap. Which again, if they took care of because my point is, all of these people who do that crap that I see are doing it while having children. The dingbat with the baby came over here about a week or two ago, and a person who claims to be friends with them was talking trash about the fact that they were wearing some kind of designer clothes, but they knew they couldn't afford it because of the kid they have and where they. And I was just thinking to myself, you're the same idiot that won't tell them to start a college fund for their child who's now over a year old, who won't tell them to marry the man that they had this kid with so they can be around each other more and it'll be a binding agreement. So you don't have my sympathy when you start pretending you care. A decent wardrobe isn't expensive, but her name brand's over material. Am I right? Yep. All those years of grade school just for nothing. Well, that's the same way I feel. Like you break your behind trying to get out of middle school, high school, and then what? So 2 years later, you can uh, get accepted into a university, and then have your parents pretend that it's like the coming of the apocalypse to assist you with going to that school, and then you get to sit and watch them spend all this money on stuff they don't need as they pretend that they're like so destitute and poor. A person I used to know, father got deported, so he dropped out of college to work and pay bills. It just seems like a really screwed up, very backwards. That's why I say I live in the twilight zone. Like, only in the twilight zone could you do all of your obligations as a student and then not be able to continue with your education, not because you're not bright enough or you didn't work hard enough, but because you don't have an excess of wealth that is not expected of someone of your age to have anyway, without the assistance of older people who, in your case, turn their backs on you after trying to freak you out about not getting this piece of paper. It's just a really screwed up situation, and I wish people would, you know, acknowledge it as such. Like I said, I don't ask for sympathy. I just wish that in certain instances there would be a less antagonistic response to it. People would use circumstances where people had to drop out of school to help and still blame you for failing in life. Yeah. Like you're the failure in life for not owning thousands of dollars at a time when most people your age wouldn't have it anyway. Not the adults who failed to assist you when that was what they were supposed to do, as stated by them in the past and by the rules of society. Like literally, if I work for 20 years and I don't have 12,000 saved up, barring some Great Depression like circumstance, I'm a failure. I would be a failure if I worked that long and didn't have what is a fairly measly amount of savings like that with me, or something that would be there. They had to get GEDs afterwards. Well, Ruben, that's why the dingbat with the baby is all the more jarring, because that was someone who dropped out of high school, took the time to get a GED, applied for college, and then after previously saying it was stupid to have kids you couldn't afford, proceeded to do that same thing anyway. And she didn't get raped. She didn't get, I don't know, forcefully inseminated. She just didn't care about anyone besides her. That's how that happened. And now there's a child who is going to end up having the exact same circumstance as myself, except even worse. Because now they have two dingbats from the start of it that aren't thinking about its future whatsoever. But again, it's not my role to get involved with that. Those had to have problems at home if they dropped out of high school. Feel bad for children, irresponsible parents, especially teen parents. Well, they're not teens. They just act like they have toddler brains.
And let the baby cry loud as heck.
Yes. And then if an older person makes a noise, it's like Armageddon.
Yes.
Close enough. But my thing is this, it's like, you can't afford this. And you just choose to do it anyway. To hell with if the kid's life is screwed up. To hell with if it screws up your own life. Like that's why I said it's really ironic to see people try to label me as someone who doesn't have confidence. When if you look at the way that these people act, they knew from the time that she got knocked up that they couldn't afford it. They not only do they not have confidence in the fact that they could eventually save up and then be able to do it later with a much better circumstance, they don't even care about themselves. Like, how much of a piece of trash would I be if some bimbo that put me in jail was able to convince me to get back with her?
I don't even know.
Others were just really low income, and especially after the economy crashed. Well, again, I just don't have. Oh, let's not even talk about that, because the dingbat with the baby, even while being off of work, won't even what's it called? Still uses certain places as daycare centers, meaning that she still drops off her kid to other people, even though she's supposed to have more time with her child. Most people can't even show their face on a public platform. You do, which shows a certain level of confidence. Running around.
The heck?
You remember that the Michael Jackson?
Oh yeah, I know that. I was about to say, what?
Yeah, he liked Michael Jackson.
A whole bunch. I actually used to dance like 2 years ago.
Yeah, doing the moonwalk.
Yeah.
What else is here? Talking about facts. Well, also, wouldn't I have to have a level of confidence to believe in my opinions, like to where I would argue ardently against it being my fault that the woman said no, or that the employer, chose not to hire me? Like, wouldn't I have to believe in my abilities to go, yeah, it's that person's fault that it didn't work out. I mean, which it is. If I'm willing to, compromise with them and they tell me to go screw myself, I don't see how that's my fault. Like it doesn't make sense to me. But again, people are just antagonistic online for the hell of it. I mean that Billie Jean was a single mom who attempted to force her child onto Michael. Oh, okay. Well, again, I just think it's really sad that people have children or claim to care about someone, and then when you need their help, they just tell you to go screw yourself.
Was dead, I think it got more iconic.
There's a lot of iconic stuff where people are alive. And people, they had a game, remember, on the Genesis? So it was already iconic.
It was the Moonwalker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think it had anything to do with I can't even say it.
Thriller.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to close this out, because we need to have our bookends. My brother will be 18 at some point. He's a while away from that. But when he gets to be college age, I will see where I am when it comes to my finances. And even if I'm not able to assist him, which again, I admit certain parents do care about their children and genuinely can't help them, which is why I forgave one of the 3 people that let me down. He will not see me spend thousands of dollars on clothes, on shoes, on anything that is not food, water, a home, or maybe a car. And even then it's going to be like, some car that doesn't cost a whole bunch. Basically, my point is it'll be different because first of all, I'm not his guardian. And secondly, I'm not going to be such a hypocrite to say to him that I can't assist him with this thing that I knew would cost thousands of dollars while spending thousands of dollars on crap that I don't need. Good role model salute. I'm so flattered. Hey, do you live in a world without heroes?
Not anymore.
Oh, who's your hero?
You.
Oh, I'm so flattered. Yeah, I just find it very sad that so many parents are such pieces of trash that they, have kids that they screw over.
Or beat the crap out of them for no reason.
Yep.
Like, if you were going to have a kid, would you rather take care of it or beat it up all the time?
Take care of it.
Correct.
No, I don't believe in violence.
Me neither.
They have a romance group they try to lump me into where they've had, guys that can't get with chicks.
Yeah.
They've had members of that group kill chicks, kill other people.
What?
And I always say, I don't support any of that. I don't believe in any of that. And because I don't, I critique chicks, you criticize what they do, you're automatically included in a group of men that include members who do stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
Even if you don't support violence at all.
Oh, wow.
Why does Kevin want to cry? No, I'm waiting for him to write what his response is.
Oh.
And now James is saying he wants to cry.
A whole bunch of people are saying that.
Yes. I don't know what's going on. Talking about he was sitting by some garlic. By some onions.
Yeah. First, you wanted to talk about what you wanted to talk about at the starting of the stream. Then we go to COVID, and then we go to Michael, and then we go to saluting and crying. Literally 4 segments about this.
Join the romance group. Remember, you have to improve on things that don't matter, but if you fail at romance, it's your fault.
Wow.
No, he's making fun of them. But usually my streams are multi-topic, so we go from one thing to the next to the other.
Oh, that's why.
But you know, the romance group online, they try to vilify me and say all kind of nasty stuff.
Hmm.
They try to say that your whole life is dominated by not getting with the woman. So when I talk about Dragon Ball or politics or something else, that
Yeah.
that pokes a hole in that little narrative.
I love
Only true love is family and pets. Well, I had a dog who I had for uh, 5 years that ran away, and I cried. I cried more for that dog than about uh, every single relative I've ever had, except maybe two people.
Oh, wow. Wait a minute, you had a dog?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea.
James doesn't want to explain why he wanted to cry. He doesn't want to articulate.
Well, you have to have a reason, but okay.
Oh, it was a Yorkie, Mo. So is the election trial still going, or has Biden been confirmed the president? I stopped keeping track for a while. So he's been declared the president, but they have to certify the results next month, which is when the electoral college meets, and then it'll all be over officially, anyway. Nice guys do finish last, Ruben.
Well, Biden finished first, so
Well, I didn't think he was nice, but whatever.
well,
Ruben called Biden and Trump two senile
oh wow.
creepers.
What?
Crying for Justin being a good role model to his brother. Oh, I'm so flattered. I just think it's really sad that there's a very good possibility I'll have to assist him with something like a kid that's not mine. I have to do that for, which again, because it's my brother, I'm not uh, what's it called? A good way of saying it, opposed to. It's just the fact that you have to assume parental roles because of the failures of the people that that have the child. I think that's really a sad thing. Like I would probably, if I didn't despise the dingbat with the baby, I probably would assist with that too. I really cannot stand being around that creep. So I'm just like, yeah, I
That whines that cries almost to like 2 in the morning or
Yeah.
12 in the morning.
Well, again, it's the fact that its mother is a piece of trash.
Yeah, that too.
Thank God the politics online are getting stupid. Can't wait till radical liberals just leave the Trump bashing alone. Blaming him for issues in America have been around way before. Oh yeah. I mean, again, he didn't start any of the wars we were in. We already had economic disparity. A lot of stuff was problematic before he showed up. And again, I never was really into going after him for any of that stuff. Yeah, Kevin can still wear his red hat at home. Look, I'm about to go to the market, so I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for showing up, and remember, if you have children or some kid you're the guardian of, actually do things to make their life better.
Yep.
Don't just spit them out for fun in a
Yeah.
photo op. How weird would I look if I had a kid and all I do with it is take pictures and then get mad when it starts crying?
Yeah, that would be dumb. Zero IQ.
Yeah, that's really sad that's the role of parents now. Let's have kids we can't afford. Can't wait till Biden disappoints in the next 4. Also, don't get me started with Kamala. Well, like I said, I thought she was a decent senator, but as a presidential candidate, why do they call, have to call. Man, Black Pill wrote that in a way that confused me. Why do they have to call a guardian of someone else's kid, call someone else's kid guardian? I don't even know what he's saying. Type it again. Maybe you were writing it too quick. I really didn't understand what was being communicated.
I was struggling.
Yeah, I got confused.
I'll try to look at it, but I can't be seen.
Yeah, blame them, the YouTube and their little weird system.
Yeah, I really do blame them. So.
So it's a little too goofy for my taste. Looks like he's excited again.
I guess not.
But yeah, let me get out of here. So thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. And I just hate that things turned out the way they did with school. I think that people should have some kind of responsibility for who they create. Take care all, and remember, better have 8 years of better have 8 years of experience coming out of college. Good luck and see you later. All right, thanks for showing up. Have a good day.
Bye, guys.